Interstellar is one of the epic blockbuster movies in the field of science fiction. While watching this movie, you probably won't understand the whole concept in one go. You would need to watch this movie twice or even thrice to perfectly understand the complicated concepts which are filmed throughout the movie. As we all know, this movie had more complex and weird theories within it. So let's jumpstart this video, as we're going to discuss the greatest theories and science fiction concepts used in this movie, hence helping you to clear out your confusion. So let's begin with the main storyline. In this movie, we talk about concepts like gravitational, time dilation, spinning black holes, artificial gravity, binary codes, five-dimensional reality. They even focus upon tesseract and Newton's gravitational theory, and the major characters of this movie are Matthew McConaughey as Cooper, and the whole story revolves around him. Basically, Cooper used to be a pilot of NASA, but now he became a farmer, because the change in conditions means that farming has become more important for keeping people safe. Interstellar didn't show any specific timeline, so we can't predict which year this is being depicted. Through background settings, we just know that Earth wasn't a suitable place for humans to live. This movie depicts extreme future conditions of a deathly Earth, which is 100 years ahead of present time, where storms and cyclones are very common in today's life. Well, this was the main reason why there was such a huge distraction in the crop yield, and because of this, Cooper also started his farming. Surprisingly, another reason for Cooper being a farmer is that 7 years ago, wheat and okra stopped growing on Earth. That's why he was living as a farmer with his family. In his small family lived his wife, a son, daughter, and father-in-law. His daughter was a very intelligent girl who had a good interest in the science field. Her name was Murph. One day, some books from Murph's bookshelf fell down, and this happened many times. Then she told her father that there's a ghost in her room. Cooper declines by saying that there is nothing like ghosts, it's just a wasteful myth. So Cooper asked her to stay in her brother's room, as he was going to stay in Murph's room the whole night to be observing weird activities taking place in her room. In the morning, when Murph returns to her room, she finds her father studying those lines. Cooper tosses coin on lines. When the coin falls on line, Cooper tells Murph that this phenomenon is not due to ghost, but it's due to gravity. Interestingly, this was the reason for falling of books automatically from bookshelves. He even told Murph that these lines are not Morse code, but thick lines are binary codes and thin lines are zero. Coming to binary codes are nothing but computer languages, which are used to send or receive any messages. And in these messages are in form 0 and 1. On decoding this binary message, he found out that this are coordinates of some place. Cooper, along with Murph, go to that location, and according to this binary message, on reaching that place, they were caught by tight security, and from there, they were kept in different rooms. The security investigator, Cooper, and they asked him from where did he get to know about this location, and in between investigation, one scientist arrived named Emily. She takes him in a wide hall. There were many people in that hall along with Murph. Everyone in that hall wanted to know from Cooper that from where did he get to know about this location, because this location was a very classified location of which not many people knew. Then Murph tells them they have reached here with the help of gravity, and in between conversation, one person sitting their question and accused them of misleading through the wrong ideology. And then they further tell Cooper they are not lying, as they are only here because of gravitational anomaly. A few minutes later, one professor named Brand takes Cooper along with him. Surprisingly, Brand knew Cooper, as he was also working with him at NASA's organisation. Cooper used to think that NASA organisation has been banned because on Earth it was really difficult for people to have money for eating food, and a big organisation like NASA required huge amounts of funding for carrying out its working. If the public knew that huge amount of money was being spent on running space organisation, then the whole public would protest against it. So due to this very reason, projects were banned at that time, but the organisation is still running secretively in a classified location. The professor even tells Cooper that Earth would soon be deprived of oxygen, as years ago growth of wheat and other plants stop. And if this continues, Earth would be in real crisis of oxygen. Cooper asked him if there's any way to restore Earth's oxygen concentration. Then Professor Brand tells him that we don't have to save this planet, but have to leave it behind. Further in the conversation, Cooper got to know that there is one spaceship present in space named Endurance, which has more than enough fuel which would support life of people like Earth. Those people even tell Cooper about one wormhole they found near Saturn 48 years ago, but they don't know who made the wormhole. But whoever the person wants to save us, before moving ahead, let's move. What are these wormholes and those tunnel in space which reduces long distances in galaxies to be converted in short time? That means if a galaxy takes millions of years for humans to travel through wormholes, humans reach a very short period of time, rather than millions of years to reach. As we know, the Professor Brand told him about an anonymous person who wants to save them. We shall know who this anonymous person is by the end of the video. Brand even tells him that now they have sent 13 astronauts to find some place which supports humans' life. So when they find some place suitable, they shall send a signal through a beacon. Until then, they have received 3 signals. So through these signals we clearly know that there is some place like it, but we still haven't tested its atmosphere and environment for suitable survival. And for this to work, they are sending more astronauts so that they could perfectly check living conditions. Perfectly check living conditions there so that they could save the human species from being demolished. After that, Professor tells Cooper about his plan B, as we know that plan A is to take all human species in a space shuttle to another planet, but this plan is incomplete because it takes an enormously huge spaceship to carry all of the humans, and in the scene where they are standing and taking is a huge space station. And it also would be really difficult for carrying this huge weight out of the Earth's gravity. And for working upon this quest, Professor Brand was working upon one equation, and hopefully, if this equation works out, then it would be possible to overcome the Earth's gravity and carry all humans to another planet. So Professor told him about his plan B, and assured him that plan A doesn't work, then plan B would definitely work, in which those astronauts were expected to go to another planet. They would be sent with 5,000 cryo-embryos. Cryo-embryos means preserved embryos. Now, would be taken to another planet along with those astronauts, and thus develop human species on another planet, so that the human race doesn't get destroyed. Hence, this was the plan of Professor Brand. Brand even offers Cooper to join them in NASA's organisation, as he was a very fine pilot, and even insisted by saying that they are in great crisis right now and thus need a skilled pilot like him. Cooper soon agrees with this idea and decides to join them in their mission, because he passionately wanted to save Earth. But one of his daughter, but on listening to the news, his daughter said his daughter became really sad and asked him not to leave their family. Cooper tells him that when he returns from the mission, they both would be of the same age. This is due to time dilation. And letter after this scene, Cooper goes ahead with his mission. Now all those astronauts go near Saturn, where a wormhole was present. Through the wormhole, there goes to a massive black hole called Gargantua, as signals coming from that planet were located on the orbit of the black hole. Now here the concept of time dilation is used. This means if any object is close to another object with a huge mass, then the time for the small mass object will go slower. Let's understand this a bit more closely. Consider planet A, which is far away from Earth, and planet B, which is close to a black hole. Planet B will experience much more slower time as compared to planet A, which is far away from the black hole. Thus, 1 hour on planet B is equal to many years on planet A. Anyway, coming back again to our storyline. The Endurance team, along with Cooper, decide to go to the planet which is closest to the black hole. Hence, 1 hour spent on that planet is equal to 7 years on Earth. Dr. Brand's daughter, Doyle, also goes along with Cooper on a mission. When they reach that planet, one of their assistant's partners stays back in an Endurance spaceship. Later, upon landing on the planet, they got to know that the planet's condition wasn't suitable for sustaining humans' life, and they also found broken pieces of spacecraft of those astronauts who were sent before the mission. After a period of time, one huge wave came over, and in this incident Doyle also dies. To our surprise, 3 hours were already spent in there, which means 21 years on Earth, when Cooper returned. Cooper returned to his partner, who was waiting at Endurance spaceship. Until he reaches there, 23 years were already spent when Cooper sees video messages sent by his children. He finds them very well grown into big lads. Those 13 astronauts who went there many years before died within a short period of time landing on that planet. And even a beacon sending signals for just a few minutes due to time dilation. The minutes were equal to years on Earth. Thus, scientists at NASA thought that the signal they were receiving was coming from many years. As we know, Endurance was working for 23 years, hence its fuel wasn't enough, so they could travel to another 2 planets. But Mann was constantly sending signals from another planet. Though Edmund's plant was more sustainable for sustaining life. But they decided to go for a planet where the constant signal was coming from. Meanwhile, Cooper's daughter Murph became a scientist and started working on the equation of gravity on which Professor Brand had been working for years before dying. Professor Brand told Murph that he'd cracked the equation beforehand and realised it's not possible to deport humans to that planet and that Plan A never existed. After getting to know all this, Murph sends a video to his father in which she mentions that Professor Brand is dead and that Plan A never existed, which means that she will never see her dad. For which she blames Cooper, stating that he left her on Earth to die. But she never gives up, and she continues working on the equations, for which she requires gravitational singularity's quantum data. If she gets her hand on it, she can save people on Earth. When they arrive on Mann's planet, they find Mann asleep deep into a slumber. After waking up, Mann tells them that the condition of this planet, when they arrive on Mann's planet, is not too well off, but it's still suitable for their stay. After a while into the film, we realise Mann sent a false signal, and he even fails in an attempt to kill Cooper. Mann fabricates all this because he wants to get out of this planet because it was not suitable for surviving. After all, Mann tries to perform manual docking on Endurance, but he dies during the procedures. In the middle of everything, the Endurance faces inconveniences, but Dr. Brand and Cooper fix it somehow, and the damages subside, but Endurance starts running low on fuel, which was going to take them to the third planet. Now they're most desperate to go to this planet because firstly, they have no functional plan A, and secondly, according to the data analytics provided by that planet, it was most suitable to live on. Brand and Cooper, along with their robots Case and Tars, come to the conclusion that they need to get to this planet by using gravitational slingshot. Gravitational slingshot means using other objects' gravity to increase its speed, which would result them into reaching Edmund's planet with whatever fuel they had left. The problem with Cooper was that the nearer he travels to the black hole, time would travel with the same speed in the Earth, and he wants to see his kids alive. He still has little hope that Plan A might work. Somehow. The centre of a black hole is called gravitational singularity, and Murph requires quantum data of this very gravitational singularity, so Cooper sends his robot TARS to go to that gravitational singularity, and asks it to send him all the quantum data that he could send it to Murph so that Plan A eventually works out. But after entering the black hole, TARS cannot send signals to Cooper. Due to Endurance being bulky, Cooper ejects the Endurance from spaceship so that Dr. Brand can go to Edmund's planet and accomplish Plan B, and due to the gravity of the black hole, Cooper enters the black hole. Now, due to the central pull by the black hole, he thinks he'll die, but he enters into the tesseract. In the tesseract, he envisions his daughter's room, in which the books used to fall on their own. The interesting part is he can see right through the past and future with the help of tesseract. Time becomes a physical dimension in tesseract. Just like you can see back and forth in space, you can see back and forth in time. After understanding the tesseract, Cooper sends a message to his daughter through gravity that she should stop him from going, and Murph even decodes the message and notes it down in her notebook. Cooper also figured out NASA's coordinates by gravity itself, which were all witnessed in the starting of the movie. The one who Murph misunderstands to be a ghost turns out to be her dad from the future. Cooper finds TARS in the tesseract, to whom he sent prior to collect the quantum data. TARS informs Cooper that it has collected all the necessary data, which marks the success of Plan A. Cooper asks TARS to send him the data. Now Cooper was capable of saving people on Earth. All that was left was sending the data to Murph. He thinks of a way to send the data to Murph. He uses gravity to send the data to Murph in Morse language and succeeds. Murph figures out the signals on her watch to be Morse code, and decodes it and solves her equation. And the people from Earth are transported into a huge space station. After Cooper is done with sending the data, the tesseract disappears, and because tesseract was in the middle of the black hole, due to time dilation, even 1 second spent by Cooper equals to more than 50 years on Earth. Other astronauts save Cooper from a black hole, and he finds himself waking up in a huge space station, which means that Plan A was indeed a success. He noticed that people have adapted to the gravity, and people who are living there have no inconvenience. The name of the space station was Cooper Space Station, which he took after his daughter's name. When he revisits his daughter, he realised she had aged very much, and there's little to no difference between his and his daughter's ages. After meeting his daughter, he is prepared to go to the planet on which he sent Dr. Brand. In the second scene, it is discovered that Dr. Brand reached that planet safe and sound. It's never revealed or discussed in the film if she finds Cooper or not. The film ends here. Now let's talk about those who created the wormhole near Saturn, so that humans can look for a new home to continue life, and who created the tesseract.
If these people can create tesseract, it means they can unfold the past, present and future easily. They created the tesseract, and through Cooper, they helped save the people on Earth. Earlier, NASA used to believe that those people could be advanced beings who tried to save us. But after entering the tesseract, Cooper discovered that these people are no one but humans from the future. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe for future content like this. Any suggestions or feedback would be greatly appreciated. And I'll see you in the next video. Talk to you then.